Hi everyone, this is BP Sangme and today I am going to discuss about the ergonomic considerations in design. Do subscribe for the latest videos of machine design. Ergonomics is defined as the relationship between man and machine and the application of anatomical, physiological and psychological principles to solve the problems arising from man and machine. Ergonomics is the study of designing equipment and devices that fit the human body, its movements and its cognitive abilities. The word ergonomics is coined from the two Greek words ergon, which means work, and nomos, which means natural laws. Hence, ergonomists study human capabilities in relationship to work demand. Ergonomics is the science and the art of fitting the job and the workplace to the worker's needs. It is the study of work. It is a way to make jobs, tasks fit to employees better. It is a way to make work easier. The main objective of the ergonomics is to make machine fit for the user rather than to make the user to adapt himself for the machine. It aims to decrease the physical and mental stresses of the users, that is worker. Let us discuss about the objectives. The objectives of ergonomics are to fulfill the two goals. First is the health and second is the productivity. To improve the relationship between people, equipment, workplace and the environment. To increase work efficiency and productivity. To promote safety, comfort at workstation. To reduce physical workloads. To minimize the risk of injury, illness, accidents and errors without compromising the productivity. To prevent repetitive strain injuries which can develop over time and can lead to a long-term disability. From design considerations, the topic of ergonomic studies are as follows. First is the anatomical factors in the design of driver's seat. Here you can see the example of a design of driver's seat. You know very well that many of the transportation industries are actually facing the problem that drivers need to sit a very long time while driving, so they may feel uncomfortable while using different controls, while watching on different panels. Okay, so they are continuously they may work for the 8 to 12 hours continuously by sitting on the driving seat. Okay, so that driving seat should be comfortable while driving the vehicle. They should not feel the they should not feel the fatigue. Okay, so the first is the anatomical factors in the design of driver seat. Second is the layout of instrument dials and display panels for accurate perception by the operators. It means that whatever the instrument panels placed on the dashboard, that should be properly placed. Again, the controls should be easily accessible to the driver. For example, while blowing the horn, okay, the horn should be easily accessible. It should be at a reachable distance. So many controls are there, indicators are there. Okay, so that should be properly placed on the dashboard. Third is the design of hand levers and hand wheels. Okay, so different levers are used, different wheels are used. Okay, so that should be properly placed. Fourth is the energy expenditure in hand and foot operations. In some mechanical operations, in some machining operations, sometimes the human may have to apply, a worker may have to apply a hand force or a foot force. For example, you can see here, while driving we have to operate the clutch, we have to operate the brake, we have to operate the accelerator. So a minimum effort should be required, optimum type of effort should be required, that should not give any kind of fatigue while driving the vehicle. Okay, so energy expenditure means calculation of forces is required. Ergonomically, it is necessary because a human being can apply a particular amount of force by using hand and particular amount of force by using his feet. So many controls which are expected to be operated by feet by that should be placed at the near about the his feet. Okay, and many controls which may require a less effort, that should be placed near to his hands. Okay, again, lightning conditions, noise, climate conditions also going to affect the efficiency of worker. They are going to affect the workability of worker. Now let us discuss about the areas of ergonomics. The relationship between man and machine, the working environment. Third is the human anatomy and posture while using the machine. Fourth is the energy expenditure in hand and foot operations. Already I have said that energy expenditure for hand and foot will be different. Whatever the energy expenditure for where the high energy is required for the operating conditions, we can use the foot, and comparatively where the low energy is required, we can use the hand. Let us discuss about the man-machine relationship. Any machine cannot be continue working for a longer period of time without the aid of man. The work can be performed by a man-machine system. Hence, a man-machine system may be defined as a combination of activities between man and machine to get the desired output from the given input. The main objective of ergonomics is to make machine fit for user. That machine should be user friendly rather than to make the user adapt himself to the machine. It aims to reduce the physical and mental stress of the user, that is worker. So here you can see that a layout, a figure on which on the left side man is there, on the right side machine is there. Okay, and at the top information displays, means various displays will be there. That displays may be indication displays, analog type of displays. Okay, so a man or a worker is going to get the feedback from these displays. So according to the feedback, he is going to act and he is going to take the corrective action to control the machine. Okay, so he is going to, while taking the corrective action, he will be operating different types of controls. He is going to operate the levers, wheels, push buttons. Okay, so this is the closed loop system. Here you can observe that a machine gives feedback at whether it is working properly or not by using different types of displays to the man or worker, and the worker is going to control the machine by using taking the different corrective actions. So here from the display instruments, the operator can get the information about the operations of machine. Means he is going to get the speed, feed, whatever the if you will take the example of any CNC or VMC machine, so he can get the lot of information from the displays. Okay, and according to the displays, if he feels that the correction is necessary, then he is going to take the corrective action by operating the control or lever mechanisms. So this corrective action of a man is going to change the performance of the machine, that is going to alter the performance of machine, which will be the indication again that that change in performance of machine will be indicated by the display information. Okay, the contact of man-machine system is a closed loop system arise at two places: information display instrument, which gives feedback or information to the man or worker, and the control, which is operated by a man or worker to adjust the machine. Now let us discuss about the design of equipment for control. So the communication system consists of the control equipment of devices, which may include a graduated dial or a display or a signal to indicate the response of the machine to the instruction or instructor. The type and size of the control devices selected depends upon the following number of factors. The principles are: one, the first is the required speed of operation. Second is the required accuracy of the control, the required operating force, the direction of movement, that is on off or increase or decrease, the required range. Let's discuss about the types of controls. First is the hand wheel. The torque corresponding to tangential forces 300 to 400 Newton if the rim of the wheel grasped firmly by both hands. Okay, so here you can perceive that a human can operate near about 300 to 400 Newton of torque by using bare hands on a wheel. Okay, so while selecting the diameter of wheel, that care should be taken. Okay, whatever the torque requirement will be there, according to that the diameter of wheel should be changed. If the torque requirement will be high, the diameter of wheel will be larger. If the torque requirement will be low, the diameter of wheel we can keep the diameter of wheel smaller. Next is the small crank. So in many machines small crank mechanisms. Here you can see that this is the crank lever which will be operated by means of a hand. Okay, so it can be operated at high speed. So here the requirement is we need to operate this machine at a high speed. Okay, with a load of near about 10 to 20 Newton, so that this much amount of load we can easily apply by using a single hand. Okay, so maximum speed of a crank 200 rpm is required. Okay, so handle length for the speed of 200 rpm and for the force of 10 to 20 Newton, a 40 mm handle length is sufficient, and a grip diameter, so this is the grip diameter, a 10 mm diameter will be required. So this is nothing but the aesthetic considerations. While designing a machine, a design engineer should consider what much amount of force a human being can apply by using a single hand or by using two hands, what is the required speed, okay, what kind of size of that particular lever, or so that the particular worker can firmly grasp or grip. A firm grip can be formed easily on that lever, so that size should be considered according to the considerations of ergonomics. Next is the round knob. Here you can see a round knob. So we can see that the diameter of round knob will be maximum 10 to 150 mm diameter. Maximum diameter of knob will be there. Okay. So while selecting any, while providing the controls on any machine, minimum 10 to maximum 150 mm diameter can be provided for the rotary knob. And suitable diameters are 50 mm, best suitable diameter is, and required torque to rotate the knob is 25 Newton meter. Okay. Next, in some machine joysticks are required while controlling the various crane mechanisms, or various machines are actually operated by means of joystick mechanism. Okay, so it is a lever with 2 degrees of freedom, and it can be used to control the 2 independent variables simultaneously. So here I have given the example of a gearbox operating over the automobile, and selector switches are there. Okay, so while providing the joystick, that care should be properly taken. Okay, according to the ergonomic considerations, the design of joystick should be done. Next is, in some machines we may have to use the push button to control the machines, to on off the machines. Okay, so these are used for the controlling 2 state parameters and can be biased to return the unoperated conditions when not pressed, or may require a second pressure to release them. Okay, so here I can give the number of examples, like many of the household equipments are there, many of the machines are there. To on that machines, to on that household equipments, sometimes the push button is provided. Okay, so the push button, a single finger can be a force of single finger can be sufficient to operate the push button. So that is nothing but the ergonomic consideration. If the more amount of force should be provided, in that case we should not go for the push button. Okay, in sometimes the frequently in case of accidents. Okay, so to control the machine, when there is a need of suddenly put off the machine, in that case, or put on the machine, in that case we can go for the push button. Okay, the control should be easily accessible and logically positioned. The control operation should involve minimum motion and avoid awkward movements. The shape of the control component which may come in contact with hand should be conformity with the anatomy of human hands. So here you can see that this is the cockpit of aeroplane. So many controls are there, many type of knobs are there, many types of levers are there, many types of push buttons are there, and you can observe many types of displays are also there. Okay, so proper color proper control, to control the proper for the proper flight control, ergonomic considerations should be done while designing a cockpit, while providing the controls, while providing the feedback to the pilot. Okay, so proper care should be taken while the design of cockpits. Okay, so these are some design consideration. A proper color produces a beneficial psychological effect. Already in the previous video, in the video of aesthetic, I have discussed about the color coding. Some colors are provided, like if you take the example of green color, it is the symbol of control, it is the symbol of safety, and red color is the symbol of danger. Okay, so proper color is required because it gives the psychological effect. The control should be painted in red color with the gray background of machine to call for attention. Okay, so the controls should be provided with a red color, and the background should be a gray background should be there, so that it will going to attain it will going to keep the attention of that particular worker who is going to control the machine. Next is the design of display control. The displays are the devices through which the man receives the information from the machine. Here I have shown some displays are analog and some are digital type. Okay, the display in one which allows the proper combination of speed, accuracy and sensitivity of display. A display should be sensitive enough, it should not be it should be optimum. Okay, it should not be too much sensitive, otherwise you will it will be difficult to read the to get the reading from the display. Okay, if the pointer will be fluctuating always, then that is not going to give a proper information how the machine is exactly working. Okay, so speed, accuracy and sensitivity are the basic requirements while designing the display. Now, types of displays. First is the qualitative display. The display or signals used to indicate only the condition or state without giving the value are known as qualitative display. So the best example is traffic signal lights. Okay, here the red signal is used to it is the indication of you have to stop. Green signal is the indication of now you can go. Okay, so here you will not see any kind of value. Okay, so if you will not observe or if you will not see any kind of value in case of displays, that displays are called as a qualitative displays. Okay, so sometimes some displays are shown used to indicate the danger. Okay, the red display is the indication of danger. Okay, these kind of mechanisms or these kinds of displays are provided on the CNC VMC machine, where the machine door is open, where the machine is working, or where the machine is idle. So for this the indication display is there. This is again the type of qualitative display. Next is the quantitative display. So this type of display gives a quantitative measurement or a numerical information are known as quantitative display. So a fuel indicator, speedometer or a voltmeter, ammeter, many examples are there of a quantitative display which are going to give a feedback in terms of numbers, so that worker will get that whether the value is in the range or whether the whatever the speed. If you are driving a vehicle and you display or the speedometer is providing information that your speed is above 100 km/h, then in that case, so that is that 100 km/h is nothing but a value. When display gives information in terms of numerical terms, so that displays are actually called as a quantitative displays. Okay, so here I have shown some examples of quantitative displays. The scale, there are some requirements. The scale on the dial indicator should be divided in suitable linear progression in case of displays. The number of subdivisions should be minimum. The vertical figures should be used for stationary dials and radically oriented figures should be used for rotating dials. The pointer should have knife edge with a mirror to minimize the parallax error. Some errors are there while reading the displays. So to avoid those errors, a mirror should be placed behind the pointer. Okay, and to minimize the parallax error. Differentiation in display group should be made with the help of color, shape and size. Okay, So if you'll take the example of bike, on the bike, whatever the speedometers are there, the speedometers are frequently used. Okay, so a number of times they are used means they are they used to give the feedback to the driver. Okay, but the fuel indicator, if you'll see the size of fuel indicator, many of the bikes are having a small fuel indicator mechanism, or for small fuel indicator, dial of that fuel indicator is small. Okay, so according to the requirement, color, shape and size of the indicator should be changed, it should be varied. The numbering should be increased in clockwise direction on a circular scale, upward on a vertical scale, and rightward on a horizontal scale. So this is the requirement according to the ergonomic consideration. Important displays like warning can be made more effective by the use of flashlights. Okay, so in case of if you take the example of pressure vessel or pressure indicating devices, to indicate the whether the pressure is sufficient or not, or whether the pressure is excessive one. In case of excessive one, there should be a kind of blinking light. Okay, so that it can attract worker, or it can pay the attention of worker, so that the worker can easily look on that particular indicating mechanism. If it will blink continuously, the worker will be, he is going to look on that particular indicator, and he, by taking the taking the feedback from that indicating mechanism, the worker is going to put off or put on the particular machine. Okay, so important displays like warning can be made more effective by the use of flashlights. The working environment affect the man-machine relationship. The various functions are performed by man in industrial environment, such as supervising, controlling and maintaining the work and equipment. The environment affect the efficiency and the health of operator. The most important factors which affect the efficiency of human are: first is lighting, second is noise, third is temperature, fourth is relative humidity, fifth is ventilation, air quality and thermal comfort, and sixth is vibrations. So these parameters should be considered in a working environment for the efficient or proper working of the worker. First is lighting. Lighting levels needs to be appropriate to the task and must comply with Australian standards 1680. Working in a dim or over bright work environments can result in eye strain, headaches, irritability and inevitability, which reduces the productivity of the worker. Light sources including the sun can create unwanted reflections. Okay, so here you can see that unwanted reflections and glare effect and shadows in the workplace that can cause the discomfort, distraction and can interfere with the performance of the visual tasks. Low levels of lighting can cause depression, which for the some people may be severe. Second is the noise. Excessive exposure to loud noise can irreversibly damage the ear, resulting in noise-induced hearing loss. Nuisance. Noise can be annoying and distracting, and the result is reduced job performance and satisfaction. Excessive noise can reduce the performance of the worker. Noise may also be unsafe if it impairs communication in the work environment, such as by overpowering auditory alarms. Okay, so different noise are there. If you will go for the manufacturing industries, you can observe the different types of noise are there. Okay, so sometimes the noise may be over, and it will be it is going to affect the efficiency of worker. Even though the two workers, if they need to communicate with each other, the communication will not be effective because they will not be audible to each other. Okay, so noise should be less to increase the efficiency of the worker. Third is the temperature. For an operator to perform the task efficiently, he should neither feel hot or cold. When the heavy work is done, the temperature should be relatively lower, and when the light work is done, the temperature should be relatively higher. So these are the requirements of temperature in the working condition. Fourth is the humidity and air circulation. Humidity has a little effect on the efficiency of the operator at ordinary temperatures. However, at high temperature, it is going to affect significantly the efficiency. It is going to affect significantly on the efficiency of worker or operator. The proper air circulation is necessary. Okay, the proper air circulation. If the proper air circulation will be provided, the efficiency of worker also, it is not going to hamper the health of the worker. Okay, so it is a proper air circulation is necessary to minimize the effect of high temperature and humidity. Fifth is vibration. Whole body vibrating example is the riding of a mower. Okay, so here you can see that this is the mower which is used on the construction site. Okay, so which is going to produce a huge amount of vibration. So that vibration can cause, that is going to reduce the performance of the worker. Even at low levels, it can cause the damage to the spine, stomach, pain, and gastrointestinal complaints will be there for the worker. Also, if you go for the some fettling shops, okay, you can observe the many workers are using grinders for the fettling of large castings, small castings, even though fettling is done. Okay, so that particular grinders are going to induce the vibrations in the arms, so such as from hand tools can have a negative effects on the muscles and the skeleton of human, and can contribute to the carpal tunnel syndrome, low back pain, and vibration white finger. Okay, so that's it. These are the some basic ergonomic considerations which are going to if you will consider these all factors in the working environment, okay, a man machine relationship will be good and the efficiency of man or worker is going to improve. Okay, thank you.